Okay, so I'm gonna try something. Or talk about something we didn't really talk about yesterday. So hey, I remembered to send you the suspended chord stuff. So obviously you're gonna work on the speed drills each day. Just start at 60, get it up as fast as you can every single day, and track your progress. And then we'll talk about how fast you get and how things progressed for you through the week. And taking what you did, naming the intervals of each chord yesterday, just going through each one of those guys. If you'd like, you can take that sheet of paper, the chord diagrams and whatnot, and start working on the suspended chords. So I should have sent you this PDF. Hopefully I did. Basically, it goes over what the suspended chords are. Is basically, I'm just going to do a quick summary here. I would definitely read through this on your own at least a couple times just to make sure you understand it all. But basically, there is no major or minor version of any suspended chord. The reason why is because you don't have a third or flat third interval anymore. So the most common suspended chords are the suspended second and the suspended four. Suspended second consisting of the intervals 1, 2, and 5. Suspended 4 consisting of the intervals 1, 4, and 5. So you have a big hint in the name of the chord telling you what the interval structure is. Suspended second has a second interval. Suspended 4 has a fourth interval. So again, neither one will ever have a 3 or a flat 3. It can't. Can you have a 1, 3, or like a 1, 2, 3, and 5 for a chord? Yes. It's not a suspended chord, though. You can call that, if you had the 1, 3, 5, and then you added the 2, you could actually call it a major add 2, but most likely it's considered a major add 9. But we're looking at the 2 as an octave higher interval-wise. So a second interval is the same note name as the ninth interval. It's just an octave apart. We'll get more into that later. But just so you know, yes, you can have like a major triad or any triad plus a second or a 4, and that's fine. It's just not a suspended chord. So again, a suspended chord cannot have a 3 or a flat 3. There is no majors or minor suspended at all. So we have some interesting things that happen in key when building suspended chords. So if you're looking at the highlighted portion here, going with the chord progression by number system, you can take the 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6 chords. In other words, you can take the C, D minor, F major, G major, A minor, and you can change all of those into a suspended second, and those will be in the key of C. However, a suspended flat second has, well, a 1, a flat 2, and a 5. You can take the E minor chord, which is in the third position, and change that to an E suspended flat second. And then your B diminished is an obvious one, should be an obvious one, that you will not have a regular suspended chord because it has a flat 5 in it. So we already know there's going to be some kind of alteration within the chord. So we end up getting a suspended flat second, flat 5, because we have a 1, a flat 2, and a flat 5. Suspended 4, you can take, again, we're referring to the key of C. You can take the C major chord, D minor, E minor, G major, and A minor chords, and those can all be changed to a suspended 4, and they occur in key. The F chord will actually become an F suspended sharp 4, because it has a raised fourth, and actually a sharp 4 and a flat 5 happen to be the same interval spacing. But, we're going to call this a sharp 4 to simplify things, because you're basically, you are going up 4 notes in an F major scale, and then raising that fourth note up a half step to get to that sharp 4. And we can talk more about that next time if you have any questions with it. And then the 7th chord in key, the B diminished, again, is going to have an alteration. This time it's just a suspended 4, flat 5. So, what you can do with the chord diagram sheet is start changing those open chords Most of them are open. The F chord is not open. The B diminished isn't open because there are no open strings. But start changing those into the correct suspended second and suspended fourth counterparts. So within the description here on how to find these chords, basically, the description's here, but basically what you're going to do is, in order to change a chord to a suspended second, you identify either the third or flat third interval within the chord, and you're going to lower it to the very next note in key. It's very important. Very important. When you're changing the suspended chords to the suspended counterpart as it occurs in key, the easiest way to do it is you find a 3 or the flat 3 and lower it to the very next note in key. It's crucial. It's going to be very important when you work on changing the E minor chord. And I'll give you a heads up, it's a weird one. You're going to have to rearrange notes and whatnot in order to make it happen. So, sometimes, and I say that because, sometimes you'll have a chord where you find a flat 3, and let's say the flat 3 happens to be played on an open string. Well, you can't lower that. So, in that instance, you'll have to still get rid of that flat 3, even if it is an open string. You'll have to use a note that's within the chord you're trying to build to replace that open string. So something can definitely go on the open string, so this way you're not using the wrong note anymore. But just for example, taking the C chord, so the C, E, G, C, E, the 1, 3, 5, 1, 3. So in order to change this into a suspended second, we have to identify where the 3 is, which you've already done with the work you did last night. And you remember, you have to change every single third interval you come across. It can't just be one and call it done. If there's multiple third intervals in there, or like multiple octaves of it, all of them have to be changed. So start from the bottom of the chord, the base of the chord, and work your way up to the higher pitch and just do one at a time. So you come to the E on the D string there, the second note you're playing. So E is the 3. The very next note in key that's below it is D. So all I have to do is just open that up. Now, that still leaves the third interval on the high E string. We can't lower that down. So what we can do is use one of the other notes. So the notes in the C suspended second are C, D, and G. So basically you need to take one of those 3 notes and place it on the high E string so we can use the high E string. You could just strum those 4 strings, and that's totally fine. That would be a full C suspended second. However, so you can think of it like going in order to find what note would fit. So you could say, all right, well, what about a C? Can I play a C up here? Well, good luck, because that's way over here. So yeah, 8th fret on the high E string, probably not a good choice. D, well, that's even higher up. Not a good choice either. So G is the last option there. So that's on the 3rd fret. So that's how that one should be diagrammed. 3, 0, 0, 1, 3. So going back to show the suspended 4, we're going to change the same note. We're going to take the E, but this time we're going to raise it up to the very next note in key. So we take that E note and raise it up a half step to the F. But that still leaves the open E string. But now we can just raise that up a half step. And there we go. 3, 3, 0, 1, 1. And that's that. Some of these chords will be much, much more challenging. Be aware that, the 3rd chord in key cannot be a suspended second, because an E suspended second would involve the notes E, F sharp, and B. F sharp's not in the key of C, so we're using the notes in the key of C. But if you got time, you can email me any questions you have, or we can always just address those during the next class. But and this is totally optional. Totally optional. The biggest thing I want you to focus on is the speed work. But if you got extra time, or you're just itching to give this a shot, have at it. All right. I will see you on Thursday.